Help Wanted 2 came jam-packed with a variety of FNAF-themed minigames that were fun, but at times also scary. There's no official word on when DLC will be releasing, but we can hope that at some time this year. In the meantime, I wanted to do some predictions on what type of DLC I would like to see added into the game. Let's get into it. One of the huge omissions from Help Wanted 2 was the absence of Monty Gator from the Security Breach series. In-game files contain an unused Monty Gator. This left everyone wondering why he wasn't in the final version of the game. My guess is they're saving him for a DLC expansion, but what would his minigame look like? It would be minigolf, of course, but instead of having it themed around various FNAF games like in Security Breach, the DLC iteration could be a neon glow-in-the-dark jungle-themed golf course. You would traverse your way through an eerie, dimly lit jungle with Monty stalking you as you make your way through 8 courses. The rules would be completing 8 courses under par. Completing a course over par would result in a strike. 3 strikes and you get Monty Gator jump scaring you. The common consensus online, or at least on Reddit, is people want a minigame based on the recent FNAF movie. I know, you might be wondering, how can that be possible if the movie is basically based around FNAF 1, and we've already had that in the first Help Wanted game? Well, thankfully I'm here to tell you how it can be done. A minigame based around the movie can be very interesting. What if you play from the perspective of the security guard from the beginning of the movie, but you play it from his perspective when he's sitting in the chair about to meet his demise? The objective would be to try to unscrew bolts from the chair or solving puzzles involving your escape, but with every failed attempt, the Freddy head gets closer and closer. The suspense and adrenaline of everything unfolding would make for an intense experience in VR. Pizzeria Simulator plays a huge role in Help Wanted 2. The main hub is the actual pizzeria, and some of the minigames take place during it and or involve animatronics from that era. But one missing aspect from that era that would make for a scary VR experience is a Salvage interview. Imagine sitting in a dark room with only you and a broken down animatronic sitting in front of you. The objective would be pretty much the same from the original game, but they could take it a few steps forward and add different animatronics. They could add a Salvage Carney, since he was affected in the fire, and even have a Salvage Glamrock Bonnie, since he's been pretty much absent this whole time. This would make for an intense DLC for the game. Security Breach is another game that plays a huge role in Help Wanted 2. From Roxanne referencing Gregory, working on Glamrock Freddy, and playing through L chips in the Pizzaplex. But what about adding the infamous Mimic into the game? The Mimic plays a huge role in Ruin, but how would a minigame based around him look like? What if a minigame revolves around you having to mimic the Mimic? You'd have to recreate certain poses or do tasks in the exact same way he does. To make things difficult, what if the room was dark, and the only way to see the Mimic is with a flashlight? Failing in mimicking the Mimic would result in a jump scare and your demise. The Spooky Mansion minigame from the first Help Wanted, where you're making your way through a dark hallway, is one of the scariest minigames in the series. But can another iteration be done? Although it wouldn't be as dark, a VR recreation of the DJ Music Man chase from Security Breach would be an intense experience. Navigating your way through the Pizzaplex with the larger-than-life animatronic chasing you would make for a high-intensity experience. To take this concept a step further, the hard mode version could replace DJ Music Man with the Blob, and have you navigating the Pizzaplex in the dark with dim lighting. Now this would be definitely a horrifying version. For this next idea, I figured not every minigame has to be the scariest thing in the world. There could be some lighthearted additions as well. So I was thinking we could have another classic office minigame where you have to make it to 6 AM obviously, but instead of our usual animatronics, they could have trash in the gang, and the office would be the default office from Ultimate Custom Night. Since every minigame takes place in different eras across FNAF, this would be a change of pace from the usual horror elements, but the jump scares aren't going anywhere. The Trick or Treat minigame from the Curse of Dreadbear DLC is one of my favorites. The anxiety that game brings you as you wait to see if the correct mask is put on as soon as the door opens, and you're met with a brief moment of silence until you either win or you die. This concept I would love to see brought back. It wouldn't have to be in the same location as the spooky house. There's theories online that the Curse of Dreadbear DLC takes place during FNAF 4. Evidence is there to back this up due to the end of the hallway minigame when you reach the end and you end up in the bedroom from FNAF 4. Some say the house from the Trick or Treat game might even be William Afton's house. So if they were to bring back this minigame at Help Wanted 2, what if they have it take place at the entrance of FREDBEAR'S family diner? We haven't had a full game dedicated to this era, aside from a few Easter eggs here and there, so if this era is meant to live on in Easter egg form, then this would be an interesting way to do it. Instead of the usual animatronics answering the door, we could be met with the nightmare variations just to keep this somewhat lore accurate. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely been itching for a FREDBEAR'S Family Diner game. This next idea isn't a minigame, more so a feature I would like to see get added. This game could continue to thrive with an endless mode. Depending what minigame you choose, it would just go on forever to see how long you can survive. An added bonus would be a global leaderboard to see how far others have made it. And to take this a step further, an added multiplayer feature would be an awesome addition. 2 people can compete head to head in a gauntlet style mode to see who can survive the most. This would add an interesting layer of competition into the game. But I'm not too sure how many resources they want to continue to pour into this game, given the fact that not everyone has a VR headset, and plus the PlayStation VR 2 didn't even sell as much. For those of you that did play Help Wanted 2, did you enjoy it? If so, what minigames did you love? And what kind of DLC would you guys like to see get added into the game? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.